refine your worth, but they will reveal what your audience found valuable. And let's unpack this a little bit further. So if we look at this from the perspective of the Dharma lens, just as a monk observes the signs of the minds in meditation, is it calm, is it restless, is it distracted, analytics are the mind signs of your audience. They will give you the exact signals that you need to understand what worked and what didn't work, what truly resonated with people and what just went over their heads. But remember what we said, these are all clues. If people stop watching your video, now you know why. But more importantly, you know what to do about it. You know that you need another hook. You know you need another transition. So, let's move on to the next slide now.
So, why this matters, right? Without analytics, we're just guessing. Analytics is data that tells you what you need to change. And with analytics, we get to learn. So with the science of feedback loops, so we take an action, we understand, and we naturally get to measure through our platforms, and then we can adjust. So Instagram has its own, and we're going to go in-depth into each analytics for each platform. And these are a faster path to the mastery of any field, right? Anything you do, you have a conversation, and you learn something, and then you make better decisions. Did this book work or not? Did this transition work or not? Did they find I was sort of interesting and then there was a big drop off? Or did they not even actually start more than the first 3 seconds? So I know where I need to make a change.
And I said for many of you, when you say I post so much content but I don't get followers and views, I said great, that's amazing. Why? Because now you know what doesn't work. So stop doing it. The analytics will tell you the exact signs that you need to understand how to connect with your audience better. It will tell you what doesn't work. So every failure is also a success, right? There's no such thing as failure when it comes to content creation. There's only understanding and learning. Because all of these are signals on what to connect with people well. And if we can go to the next slide. So, do you want to kick it off with YouTube analytics?
Yes, let's go. So, one of the key things in YouTube is watch time. And this is the total minutes watched. Now, more important than views, because the amount of time that someone is spending on your video, the more likely the algorithm is to show it to more people. So this is how the prioritizing of the algorithm works with videos, that where people feel like, yes, this is my message, and they watch all the way till the end. And like I mentioned before, it can be more than 100%, especially for shorts. Because if they come back again and again, it means it is more than 100%. So that is our aim, for people to watch our videos, especially if it is something that can help them go deeper and deeper. And retention graphs show exactly when people stop watching. A steep drop in 30 seconds, for example, means that maybe the hook worked, but then after a few sentences, they didn't really know what the video was about. They didn't feel like this was relevant to me, or maybe the click-through rate was good, the hook was good, they started watching it, and they're like, no, he's not, or she's not really answering my question anymore. I'm not feeling like this video is going in the right direction, that I am going to get value. And the clearer your niche is, the clearer it is for them to get from their pain state to their gain state, the more likely they are to stay. So, a gradual decline though is very normal. So if a YouTube chart that you see in your analytics starts and slowly, gradually drops off, that is very, very common and very normal. It is next to impossible to have a straight line, right? Because people get distracted, people click on another tab, people get distracted by a notification maybe on their phone while they're on their desktop. So it can vary. It is very natural for there to be a 5 to 10% minimum decrease across a video for YouTube.
How do you prevent this? How do you sustain retention? You sustain it through a science of storytelling. Now, all of you by now know the science of storytelling. Many of you told phenomenal stories. We've been checking your content every day. And when we see it, we're so proud because we see exactly how you are applying the science of storytelling. So if you get the hook correctly, if you resonate with the pain, if people feel, yes, this video is about me, And they know by the end of it, they will get a lesson, something that they can feel, that they can take away, which is rooted in the Dharma. How do you sustain their attention to ensure that they receive the fruit? And that's through the structure that we've provided. By having the structure, you understand what works. And so these are like scaffoldings when you build a new house or a new building. It's a scaffolding that will support people and carry them through the video.
And when you have a long video, make sure you put multiple hooks. So if you have a 10-minute video, every 1 to 2 minutes there should be another hook. And something as simple as, but then. Right? This makes people feel like, but then something else happens. This information gap, again and again and again.
Okay, Mena, we can go to the next slide. Does anyone here know what click-through rates is? Okay, maybe only about 5-10% of you. So the click-through rate is the percentage of people who clicked your videos when shown. So out of 100 people, if only 5 people clicked on your video, for example, that's a 5% click-through rate. And what you'll find when you create YouTube videos is that in the beginning it will vary. It will say like 30%, 10%, 20%. But typically after 72 hours it will start to settle down. And so the click-through rate is determined by 2 things. The title and the thumbnail. When these 2 things match and the curiosity increases, click-through rate increases. The greater the curiosity, the greater the click-through rate. And our job is that we know now how to create the best titles. We covered that. But how do you create phenomenal thumbnails that just say, oh my god, I need to know what happens? And we're going to look at some of the biggest creators in the world who've distilled this down into an exact science. So you know what you need to do in order to succeed.
So when you have YouTube, and you have an algorithm that gets to know you better over time because you have posted consistently, you have identified your niche, and they are used to understanding that your audience is 25-year-old males living in this country who speak this language, it increases the likelihood of click-through rates because the algorithm knows who to. So for example, if your language is Hindi and you've posted the video in Hindi and the title is in Hindi, but the algorithm doesn't know quite yet who your audience is, it may show it to other people in English and other languages. But over time, it will get better and better at identifying your audience for you. So this is why it is so key to be consistent, because the more consistent you are, the better the algorithm knows you. And the better the algorithm knows you, the more likely it is to show it to the right people. More audience. It's almost like maybe in Facebook you've heard of lookalike audiences. Right? This is where we have a batch of people and we can create advertisements around the exact or matching that profile. What is their age range? How much do they earn? Where do they live? What language do they speak? This is what is described as a lookalike audience. And similarly, the algorithm is always testing. It will test with the subscribers and a few people first. If that goes well, it will test with 1,000 people. If that goes well, it will test with 10,000 people. And this is how it goes viral. Because if every batch that it is testing engages, if every batch it is testing, the click-through rate is high, it knows to show it to more people, that more people like this video. More people like this video means more people will watch for longer. More people watch for longer means more money. The algorithm wants the platform to make money. So YouTube wants to make money. How are they going to make money? By showing good content. And this is how they test.
And so when we spoke yesterday, why you need to create a minimum of 100 videos and apply so much of this testing, it's because yes, you are testing. You're testing your formats, you're testing your niches, you're testing the hooks, what problems you're solving that work best for people. You're testing, testing, testing. But also YouTube is testing, because it also needs to understand that which problems or which of your videos is aligned to which people. And by doing that, it will eventually know, okay, I think I found the perfect group of people that this video needs to go out to. And that's when your reach and engagement will increase. Okay, Anna, next slide please. So now look at YouTube thumbnails. I would argue that this is probably one of the most important elements of YouTube. It's spending serious time on thumbnails to really understand what works. And like I said, you don't need to dedicate time to this separately from what you're already doing. Many of you are already clicking on phenomenal YouTube thumbnails. Save them. Every time you click on something, save it. Eventually, you have a little library of what you know works. Why? Because you've already clicked on it. And then when it comes to creating your own content, this will serve as inspiration. If you've clicked on it, somebody else will. So, most creators make the mistake where they'll film the video and then they will do the thumbnail. Right? How many of you have made the mistake where once you recorded it, then you click the thumbnail? Okay, a lot of
people in the room. Yeah.
But in reality, when I speak to all of my creative friends, they do the opposite. They create the thumbnail first and then film the video. They do the opposite, right? It's so interesting. Why? Because they need to know first what is going to be the thing that hooks you in. What is going to be the one thing that really captures your attention? Because if you can't capture your attention, then you're not going to watch the video anyway. Right? Whereas what we do is we create the video and make it all nice, and then we have nothing, nobody ever clicks on it. So that's why really focusing a substantial amount of time on YouTube thumbnails really works. 80 to 90% of the success comes from the psychology of the clip, not the design. So if you're on Canva and making it look really pretty and you're like, oh my god, this is so beautiful, and then no one clicks on it, it's because the psychology was missing. And really what we're about to show you now is the exact science of psychology that is proven to work from the biggest creators. So, Brenda, we can go to the next slide. One thing that I want to cover before that is the types of thumbnails we're going to show. So we're going to show moment thumbnails. Everyone seen before and after thumbnails? Yeah? Exactly. If you see it, you know it works. Then there's a story thumbnails. This is the tension. Oh my god, what happens next? If you look at many of Mr. Beast's thumbnails, it's like in the middle of the worst possible case scenario, right? There's like a train coming to him, there's a shark about to eat him, everything's happening all at once. And so the what happens next, the curiosity is what drives us crazy. That's what makes us want to click. And then the results thumbnail, showing the result at the end, like them thinking, okay, well, how did they even do this? The transformation thumbnails, often when it comes to having great physiques, we see like a day 0 and a day 90. And this guy went from being really big to having this incredible body, and we're like, oh my god, I also want that. How do I achieve that in 90 days? Right? I'm sure many of you have felt like that. So there's a science of certain thumbnails which works. And lastly, the novelty. So we've touched on novelty a lot. It's something they've never seen before. Remember yesterday when we were talking about the purple cow? That famous book? The purple cow is something that nobody has ever seen before. However, if you do see a purple cow, you'll probably take a picture of it, right? It's because it has novelty. So what is something that you're showing that people have never seen before?
And it's important to deliver on the value of the thumbnail instantly. This is a very important point. A small results-driven thumbnail, the user is clicking on it. They need to trust very, very quickly with the hook that you are actually going to show me how to do this. You are actually going to deliver on what you have said. If you just make me click on it, and then I'm like, oh, he just did that to clickbait me, I distrust you. I develop a negative connotation, negative feeling that this person, not so trustworthy, next time I won't click on it. So we have to confirm and say, in this video you will learn exactly how to blah, right? Or I will show you exactly how this transformation happened using these techniques, and okay, they are going to talk about that. So we almost repeat and confirm what we have said in the title and the thumbnail. We don't just say, okay, since they clicked on it, they know. They don't know for sure because they do not trust. So we have to confirm in the first few seconds of the video that we will deliver on the value that they have clicked for.
Okay, next slide. So these are what we describe as moment thumbnails. And I'm just going to go downstairs so I can actually see this a little more clearly.
Maybe zoom in if that's okay, if possible.
Can we zoom in on some of the text? Okay. So your shoes are fake. I traveled 1,250 miles to surprise my girlfriend. Moment, what happens next? You can see her expression. She's a little bit like, who's this guy? Where did he come from? The shoes are fake, it's suspense. What happens? The clueless white guy orders the imperfect Chinese, the shock. Curiosity, curiosity, curiosity. People want to know. Let's look at story thumbnails. The dark secrets of the world's most isolated island. Which most isolated island? What is the secret? And why is it dark? These are the stories. You see, in just a few words, they have told you a mini story which makes you want to know a bigger story. And
Yes.
that's why this works.
And this is what I have found by looking at some of your content. The thumbnail itself doesn't include words, whereas here it says unreachable. So I'm thinking, why is it unreachable? How far is it? How difficult is it really to reach? Because clearly he did. So when we add text to the thumbnail, for example, the last one here, where it says the ocean is deeper than you think. We need better maps. What did we find? Question mark, right? So even a thumbnail contains questions. It adds and allows you to put more characters, more information than just the image itself.
So why are we telling you this? We're telling you this is because we're trying to take out the guesswork. We don't want you.
Maybe in mind.
We don't want you sitting there guessing, oh, how do I make this thumbnail? What we're about to give you is the exact structure, the various types of thumbnails that have been proven to work. With a single thing in mind, how much of this sparks genuine curiosity? But let me caveat, as always, not to clickbait. Yeah, we are not looking to clickbait. We are looking to spark genuine curiosity about something that someone is going through that we can resolve. And in the end, they will realize that some element of the Dharma actually resolved this. So here are two, moment and story. Let's go on to the next one, Hannah. What else do we have? Results. If we can zoom in a little bit. A little bit more. You're not slow, right? Now think about what she's doing. People think they're slow. This is a genuine pain point. But she's saying, you're not slow. And how to become a speed runner in 20 minutes. Do you remember when we said that people will essentially pay attention to quick things? How urgent their problem is, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, how much you relate to them. It's very clear that she is relating to people who are slow. And she's relating, and lastly, how quickly you can solve their problem. You can solve it in just 20 minutes. So when you're telling me I was a slow learner my whole life and now I can solve it in 20 minutes? Now think about how you can apply this to the Dharma. If you are really struggling with overthinking before sleep, try this meditation practice in just 20 minutes. Right? Always contextualize it in the mind of how you can apply it in the Dharma context. The second one was bringing the babish, cheeseburger from the menu, right? It's a physical final product that people have never seen before. And if we go on the last one, remember, 6 side hustles that students can start in 2023. This is a sought-after income. But why does it work? It works because he specifically spoke about that in 2023. So imagine you now applied it in the Dharma context. Here are 6 mindfulness practices that you can apply in 2026. Already you are now thinking in terms of modern days. And as we said before, it's not like this is new. This has been around for thousands of years. But people just want to feel it's new because it gives them some degree of novelty. It makes them think, okay, wow, is something going to be said differently in 2026 compared to 2,600 years? Obviously not, right? But they just want to feel like it is. Because many people are bored and they feel like they've already tried everything.
And we're giving them context, right? The teachings, of course, remain the same, but we are helping them apply it. This is the key difference. If you do not help with a specific application, then it is not clear. So even in the thumbnails, look again, there is more information. On the left side it says become smarter. So more information being provided that I'm going to become smarter. The person looking at it instantly feels like I'm going to get $947 from PayPal and I'm going to get this amount from Shopify. So it's already telling me what kind of things he will be talking about in the video. And then we have the transformation thumbnail, which is one of the most popular.
Can we zoom in?
Yeah, can we zoom in again? So here, how can I go and from $0, so from someone who has very little money to lots of money. How to invest for beginners in 2023. Again, specific. It applies to me. It applies to me right now. And I'm going to go from here, this pain state of not having money, to the gain state of having 1 million. Again, the next one. 8 steps to un-F your life. So we have someone who is really struggling, really down, maybe depressed, and then they are outside, they are happy. It's an emotion. They are showing the emotion. And if we remember some of the key books, what was it that makes things spread, makes it contagious, makes it stick? It was to do with emotion. We have to drive emotion in people. We are not informing them. We are creating emotion. And here, the dopamine detox. Again, relatability. We have people playing video games. He is going for, let's say, teenagers, right? Who are boys playing and eating a lot of junk food, Doritos. To having a detox where you are productive using your laptop. You are eating healthy with an apple. More information. Think about small things you can add to your thumbnails to make it more informative. But here's the important piece as well. Not too much. There is only 3 things. In the left one, we have 0 to 100, and we have an arrow and a picture of him. Very few details. Over here, we have someone who's looking unhappy to someone who is running. 2 emotions. Very simple. Simplicity was also one of the things that make it stick.
Now let's unpack these in a little bit more detail. Why does this work? The first thing is because the before, the pain state, is something we can all relate to. We can all relate to potentially not having much money. We can all potentially relate to not really feeling that great. And we can all relate to sometimes our lives become a mess. But where do we take them? We take them to a better place. We take them to a place where they are much better, more fulfilled, more happier in life. So you can apply it in various contexts of the Dharma. You can say from sleeplessness and then they're sleeping. Why? Because they're applying this 15-minute mindfulness technique before bed. Or if they're suffering from heartbreak, right? We can do some attachment practices maybe. Okay, well, what was it?
We had one about someone helping people with addiction. So you can show someone really struggling who's an addict, and then the after. Someone who's clean, someone who's healthy, someone who's talking to a friend or feeling amazing about themselves. Because this is about transforming. This is about the result. And all of these things, simply put, take them from a pain state to a gain state. I hope you see how the theory is applied in real life.
So we've given you 4 methods of proven scientific ways that are psychological triggers. But every single one of these can be applied in a dharmic context. Let's look at some more, member. What else do we have? We have novelty thumbnails, right? This is things that people don't know what to expect. This is something new. So think about, in your own way, how you can apply some degree of novelty. Which story are you saying that has never been heard before? Imagine it was, this story of Buddha has not been heard in 500 years. Because it's in some text which was sitting in a monastery for the last 500 years. Right? Think about how many Buddhist texts there are. But people are curious. Wait, what is this story that is different to all the other stories I've ever heard? Novelty. Right? If you think about this, these are small ways, and essentially the way you start the YouTube video is a continuation of that. Because when people click on the thumbnail, they want to see that within the first 3 seconds. Most of us end up giving it to them within 1 minute or something, and then we've already lost them. They don't trust we're eventually going to deliver on that. So this is the 5th proven strategy, having some degree of novelty. So one of you guys was the incense, right? This morning, we had the incense. But what is new about that incense? And remember the story I told? That this incense is made from these 7 sacred herbs that are from this mountain where Tibetan yogis have meditated for thousands of years. That's what was the novelty. And it may not be new, right? So many incenses, Tibetan incenses, are so sacred. But it was the story that we said, which was rooted in truth, that we portrayed in a novel way. Where all of a sudden, the very same incense that we probably all use feels new to us. Right? So when we're thinking about how to bring this, think about storytelling, think about the curiosity gaps, think about the sense of novelty that we're bringing. And like we've said, many creators repost the same content. It's completely fine. But what they do is that they test some variation to see what is going to work this time and how can I make it better than last time. Okay, next slide, Rana. So now let's look at even more YouTube thumbnails. So
here we have scroll stoppers. So incorporating elements humans are biologically drawn to. So the first is faces. This is why actually a lot of YouTube thumbnails, the actual creator puts their face. Because we are biologically wired. And even more than faces, we are actually triggered to look at babies' faces. That is one of the number one things that makes people stop and look. And especially emotional expressions. Because based on whether I'm smiling a lot, whether I look really sad, it captures attention. We've got familiar icons like characters and celebrities and apps and interfaces. So this is where we use something called the ability to connect ourselves to someone who has a higher degree of following, and that brings a sense of familiarity. So maybe no one knows me, but they know Ronaldo. So Milan has used Ronaldo to say, I have worked on Ronaldo's campaign, so now you trust him more. Because you know Ronaldo. If you don't know Ronaldo, you don't trust Milan anymore. So this is using familiar icons or characters to increase their trust in you. So who can you use? Think about it. Who do you know? Who do you work with? Who is the people that someone might know that they can trust you more? This is why adverts like Gillette, right? Shaving adverts, Coca-Cola adverts. Why do they use celebrities? Because it builds trust. Why? Because I know this person, and if I know this person, then I also like this brand. It is causing a degree of, between the icon and your brand, it is building trust and familiarity. This makes me like your brand more. Because I like Nadal playing tennis, because I like Djokovic, I am someone who now trusts your brand because this person is using my product.
I'm going to tell you a very interesting 30-second story. And it happened in Japan. Now in Japan, they love tea, not coffee. And for years, Starbucks and all of these coffee companies were like, how do I break into this market? They don't even like coffee because everyone is always drinking tea, matcha tea, right, in Japan. So they did something really interesting. Instead of opening coffee shops, what the big chains did, they said we need to change the generation. We need to change the culture. And what they did was children who are very young, they started giving them coffee candy. And the children started to love the coffee candy. And it was something that was so deep-rooted emotionally to their childhood that when they grew older, they were acquired to the taste of coffee. So now, the coffee was familiar. It was rooted in emotion, and it was nostalgic. Does everyone know what nostalgic means? It means something from our childhood, right? That we like. So then, when that generation grew older, coffee shops started increasing, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The coffee spiked. Everyone now wanted coffee because they changed culture. So think about these things. How do you invoke the emotion? How are you invoking something that truly resonates with people, maybe from their childhood, that also connects with you? That's what creates change.
And they did this 30, 40 years of investment. That's how long they took to increase the coffee markets, because they know they're going to make billions. So they spent millions, years and years, decades beforehand. They also put it in cartoons that kids used to watch. And they paid cartoon makers to add coffee in so that they would increase revenue. This is how we can associate and change and influence people in different ways, but we do it ethically.
We're not saying you have to be the perfect Buddhist, but if some area of your life integrates Buddhism that helps you alleviate some degree of pain that you feel, then people are also going to feel relatable to that. And that's what we have to start with. So now let's actually look at some thumbnails. Mela, we can go? I think we can skip through this. So, emotion, faces. Do you want to cover this?
Yes, so here we have more examples of how this captures attention of 10 ways to stop ruining your life. This person is in bed, doom scrolling. Right? Who has been in bed, doom scrolling away at night?
Many of you.
Look around the room. You know, we're all facing the same issues. Because this person is relatable, suddenly you're like, yep, that's me. I want to go learn from this person. Staying at every Vegas hotel, I mean, how many years did that take is what I'm thinking first of all, but there's an information gap, right? It is interesting. I stayed at every hotel on the Vegas Strip. Okay, so that's less, right? But this makes me think, okay, I want to join this person on this journey to see what the hotels are like. Over here, people equals 0. Why does Italy have 6,000 ghost towns? Right? And this again sparks curiosity. I didn't even know people in Europe believed in ghosts. I didn't even know that there were ghost towns in the first place. Are they actually accessible to people? How do people have sightings of ghosts? Are ghosts real? So now I have so many questions just from one thumbnail. And this is actually an important piece of the pie. Can I resonate? Does this feel like something I want to know? And if we can create an information gap, people click.
Now let's look at the next one, familiarity. Imagine there was a video, 10 celebrity Buddhists that you didn't know, right? But because you know the celebrities, and maybe there is one that you all know, you're now curious who the next 9 are. But then you say in the video, stay till the end and you'll be really surprised with number 10, right? This happens all the time. It's because it plays on some degree of psychology. So now we've covered 6 proven YouTube thumbnail methodologies. Let's see what else we have in that. We can go to the next slide. Large numbers. Has anyone ever seen large numbers on thumbnails? Huge, right? But large numbers can be used in a very interesting way. I think he's talking about doing 10,000 steps. I walked 10,000 steps for 30 days and here's what happened. Imagine if you flip this in a spiritual dharmic context. I meditated for 60 minutes every day for 30 days and here's what happened. Put the number there. Everything can be applied to Dharma, but you just have to be creative in what way. We're not trying to guess what works. The science of what works is already there. And across the last 6 days, every single strategy that Jamin and I have given you is rooted in actual science, in actual data, in actual things that work. But now you just have to be creative and think, okay, well, I'm going to walk away from this session with the exact ways that YouTube thumbnails grip people. But now how can I apply it in my context? Then danger thumbnails. So, you want to call that?
Yeah, just before that, we have 10 million subscribers and we've got an arrow. Instantly, it is credibility. We talked about in the virality and made to stick when we were referring to the books. What did we say? People want to click on things if they believe you have done something. You have achieved something. You actually know what you're talking about. You're not just talking about it. So this provides credibility. So how can you, in your videos, create credibility? That's the question. But these are real-life examples of applying credibility. What we talked about yesterday. So here we've got data thumbnails. If you can zoom in a little bit more, Mena, forever. A little bit more. I tried SWAT Academy. Truth or dare, right? And he looks like he's about to fall off a helicopter. Is he going to survive? What happens? How did he get there? What's he trying to do? So many questions. So as soon as we create information gaps, our click-through rates increase. right? And on the left, we have 7 days stranded at sea. Did he survive? What sea? Did he get taken out by waves? What did he eat? Lots of questions.
So if you're a monastic, you can say 7 days being surrounded by yaks. Right? Think about what will happen. Nobody knows yaks except in the little cartoon Avatar, right? When he's flying around in a yak throughout the world. But because no one's heard of a yak, right? People are curious. Well, what are yaks? How are they different? But it's funny and it's novel, and this is why it works. Everyone knows what to expect with sharks, but you provide something different. And in doing so, they're able to connect to the Dharma. They understand Tibetan culture. And that's just one step closer for them understanding Dharma.
Yeah, and if you're in Thailand, with elephants. If you're in another country in Sri Lanka, let's not do tigers, maybe keep it a bit safer, right? We want you to survive. But try and think, how can you relate it to your location?
Okay, next slide please, Mona. Okay, so we're also at time, so I think we can stop here, ladies and gentlemen, for the next session, and then we'll come back and really unpack all of the insights from every platform in more detail. Thank you so much. We'll see you in 25 minutes.